My 10-year-old son made a bride and groom cry on their wedding day after saying just 20 words. My son has autism, so bringing him to my cousin's wedding felt like bringing a loaded gun with the safety off. Because with his autism comes this brutal honesty that terrifies me in social situations. Last month at our family barbecue, he walked up to his aunt and said, "Auntie, I have a question for you." When she encouraged him to continue, he said, "I thought healthy food was supposed to make you skinnier, but you always talk about how your diet is so good, and you're the fattest person I know." She turned so red with embarrassment she had to go home. Don't get me wrong, I found it extremely funny. If anything, he made everything better. But sometimes his bravery scared me. So before the wedding, I sat him down in the parking lot and tried to negotiate with him like he was a government official. Remember what we talked about? Sometimes our thoughts need to stay in our heads. His little face scrunched up the way it does when he's processing something important. "But what if someone's being mean to you, Dad?" The protective tone in his voice made my chest tight with love. "Then we'll handle it together, okay? But let's try to keep quiet today." We pinky promised, and that was enough for me to believe him. When we went inside, the ceremony went better than I expected. My son sat still, only stimming with his fingers during the vows, which made my heart swell with pride for how far he'd come since I adopted him. I kept stealing glances at him, being scared that he would break our promise and announce that the best man had food in his teeth or that someone's baby looked angry, but he didn't say anything. I actually started to relax, thinking maybe we'd make it through without an incident. But then came the wedding reception. My cousin's new husband, Derek, was giving his speech, all perfect white teeth and expensive suit, thanking his groomsmen for the bachelor party. "What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas," he said with this wink that made some people laugh nervously. A wave of confusion washed over me. Something felt off about that, but I pushed it aside and handed my son a fidget cube to play with. Things were smooth sailing, and I wanted to enjoy myself. So during dinner, I reached for the bread basket, planning on getting as fat as his auntie. That's when it happened. Right as my arm was out, Derek walked behind my chair. My elbow caught my wine glass, and red wine splashed across his shoe. The entire table went silent. "What the hell is wrong with you?" Derek's voice boomed, making my son flinch. "Don't you know these shoes cost more than your car?" My face burned with embarrassment as I grabbed napkins to clean him off, apologizing repeatedly, trying to wipe the leather while everyone stared. But Derek wasn't done. "Maybe next time leave the autistic kid at home and pay for a sitter. This is exactly why we only invited family out of obligation." The words hit me like a punch. I instantly hated Derek. I was ready to grab my son and leave. I glanced at my son and saw his hands starting to flap, his breathing getting quicker. That was his warning sign, like something was going to happen. I put my hand on his shoulder, whispering that it was okay, that we'd leave soon, anything to calm him down. But his eyes were locked on Derek with that intense focus he gets when he's about to say something he thinks is absolutely necessary. My son stood up so suddenly his chair scraped against the floor. He was upset, but not for himself, for me. "You shouldn't talk to my dad like that," he declared. His voice was clear, cutting through the reception hall chatter. Derek turned, his face red from a mixture of alcohol and irritation. "Sit down, kid." That dismissive tone only made my son more upset. What happened next felt like slow motion. My son straightened his shoulders, and with the same matter-of-fact tone he uses to announce that dinner is ready or that it's raining outside, he said, "You should sit down before I tell your new wife that you like doing yoga in bed with her sister." The words hung in the air like a grenade with the pin pulled. My son straightened his shoulders, and with the same matter-of-fact tone he uses to announce that dinner is ready or that it's raining outside, he said, "You should sit down before I tell your new wife that I caught you doing yoga in bed with her sister, and you gave me a lollipop and made me promise not to tell anyone." The words hung in the air like a grenade with the pin pulled. Derek's jaw opened so wide with shock I thought it was going to crack. Chaos ensued. My cousin grabbed her bouquet and hurled it at Derek's head. "Yoga? Yoga?" she screamed. Derek tried to grab my cousin's arm, stammering that it wasn't what it sounded like, but she was already ripping off her veil, mascara streaming down her face. I now bring my son to every social event, no exceptions.